In the journey of our country's economic resilience, entrepreneurs have been the main driving force by fueling wealth creation, employment, and innovation. As business owners, they are both in touch with the ground realities and have a strong sense of the trends and shifts taking place in the country. In this special episode, we get you voices from various sectors who bring with them the rich experience of building businesses in Bharat. This industry roundtable was a congregation of founders and visionaries who are integral to the India story. Over a freewheeling conversation, we try to find out the pulse they have from the ground, both the opportunities and challenges.
First question is like an open question to everyone, actually, in the sense that we've seen that in the last 10 years, okay, I mean, a lot of changes have happened, right? We've seen a lot of development. We've seen the economy also growing. I think this government, we hear a lot, right? We want to hear from you, what are the changes and acceptable changes we have seen, right, in the last 10 years, okay, which have helped. Any one of you can start.
Most of them are industries here. So we had that excise tax, then that CST, with that Form C, getting that Form C. So with the GST, everything has been streamlined. No, it had some problems initially, but by and large, we have accepted that. And it is one of the best things that has happened to the industry.
After the GST introduction, it has become more efficient in multiple ways, right?
Of course it has. Even the refunds, they are coming digitally. We don't have to look for the peon coming with the envelope. Like faceless income tax. So that has also helped. Otherwise, here, I mean, I have not gone to the income department for many years. Even with the infrastructure which is happening still now. So now what is happening is the distance, that traveling time is less, even for the trucks. So the trucks can fly more. So all this is benefiting the transport sector. It is benefiting the industry indirectly.
How about on the PLI side? I think especially most of you are representing manufacturing sectors. What has been your view on PLI and how well it would have given a benefit? Even if you would not have got the benefit, but in general, what is your sense?
Because these are large investments you have to do, right? But indirectly, since you will be supplying, are you seeing that because there's an additional investment and you might be feeding into some of these industries? Are you seeing really that helping you?
The PLIs have been introduced in a few industries, right? But none of the industries that we are here in Kolhapur have really benefited.
Okay.
PLI came in semiconductor, it came in mobiles, it also came in solar actually.
Yeah. Solar is there, automobile ancillary is there, right?
It has not come into industries like foundry, which is also the core sector. There is a possibility that, I don't know, maybe representation is required on PLI. To the government on various areas. Like if they introduce in solar, they should have really introduced in the renewable sector instead of solar. So everybody could benefit if they are into renewables. They have only concentrated on areas which are on a large scale, I guess, which is like semiconductors.
Where you want to also get capabilities in India, right, which you don't have, you are importing, right? So you want to build that some support so that you can start making ecosystem there.
Imports from China basically.
Yeah. So you want to Atmanirbhar Bharat.
We have done is for solar panels.
Yes.
So they imported from China. For electronics also, mobiles also, we were importing a lot from China. So that is what they are trying to do, I think so. With semiconductors also the same thing.
Right. Despite of all the restrictions on China, the import has almost tripled.
But India is consuming also, right? If you have not done that, right, that is a big challenge, right? So it would have gone still further. That would have put a big strain on our current account, right? Because that's what very important. I think we took this step because that's why we are current. Despite all that, our current account and all this thing is still fairly much better. So the macro stability for India, what we've seen, there's the biggest change I see for our emerging market, right? Because emerging market always these twin deficits used to be a big problem, right? So we have managed that on the external front, no? Pretty well.
How about Sachin sir? I think since you represent the sugar industry, that industry has seen reasonably a big change, right? Whether it is one is the production side, sugar is also widely controlled in terms of prices. Now they have moved into in terms of increased income.
Still everything is controlled. Only thing is the policy reforms which came in for initially for the cogeneration sector, and cogeneration came to a level wherein power being produced now has a slab of around 4 rupees per unit for all the cogens. Otherwise, initially we got around 12 rupees also in the same cogen plants. But now they came up with the reforms on the ethanol sector. And the policy reform was very good because payment is coming in 15 days. So it has benefited the industry as well as the farmer directly. So that is a very good.
Would have added to significant on the production of import oil.
Yes.
Right, ethanol mix.
Yes.
Since Mahesh mentioned about undergone deficits, he's also been one of the.
Now it's currently 10%. We have reached that target now.
12%.
20% is what?
Yeah, 12% is reached.
Right, 12%.
So around, I think around 500.
Target is to 20% by like 25, 26, right? So we still.
Yeah, they want to touch. So again, it all depends on the crop. But because the grain based is given, there is a possibility that through now company like Ugar we are doing through maize. There is a possibility of going
Either
using
so
the.
you're not constrained by one fuel, right? You can use even.
Yeah.
Which is also gives.
But the equipment has to be there.
Exactly, okay.
And as power sector, that sector has gone through a lot of pains, and now
basically there
now
is
a lot of changes have happened in the power sector.
India is growing at a very fast pace.
Yeah.
And electricity is one of the raw materials required for running India. So probably these thermal plants or solar, wind, they have to come up. And they have to meet the power demand. So there is a big growth for this. EVs are coming up in a big way. Electrical vehicles.
Yes.
They need a lot of power now.
Yes.
So there is going to be a power shortage. Or we...
So are you investing now again further looking to now grow because the mindset change हुआ है?
No, probably we may have to shift our business probably in the next 10 years because of the pollution norms.
Right. So basically,
So we will have to move from thermal to some other green energy. So that shift will happen in the next 10 years.
Right.
So the question is, can really the green energy have that capacity of a thermal?
For a continuous supply.
Basically, for a growing economy like India,
Yeah.
it is said by him, the thermal sector or the nuclear sector where the energy is being generated will continue to grow. Because we are a growing economy at 7% GDP, we require energy. So it will grow in both the sectors.
Yes.
Even the renewables as well as the earlier sectors which are there.
Government needs to work on it. There is a differential of power rate across states, which is affecting margins. Like the power rate in Maharashtra is 12. Gujarat is 7.
Since the states, that's what they want to do, that reform. I think,
So somehow they have to they make it 7.5.
Yes.
Because that is affecting the margins across the states, and that
Especially
is creating a huge.
With Excel also.
Yes.
Maharashtra.
The cost of borrowing, but any significant reduction for you? Well, I think post-COVID, government actually changed the whole culture of interest rates being reasonable for small-scale enterprises.
40% was the norm for lending to priority sector.
It comes in the private sector lending.
So majority of the banks were resorting to refinancing schemes. The returns on the refinancing were almost about 18-19%. You invest 25% and rest 75% used to come from refinancing. So that 3% margin on refinancing plus your margin of 4%, 12%, around 16-17% return on refinancing.
I think they have created the structure for refinancing.
But subsequently, IDBI got into private sector lending.
It comes as a PSL. How about, sir, I think the cooperative house societies, so they largely depend on NABARD, right, from a financing point of view.
So cooperative sectors, societies have a different scenario only. Now, slowly it will come under RBI. Now, at the moment, it is not completely controlled by the RBI. So there are a little bit restrictions. Government is looking at it.
These are cooperative banks or cooperative society of sugar?
No, cooperative societies, but which does same banking business only.
Okay. NABARD line of credit is available only to district cooperative banks, not to small cooperative banks. Basically.
Sourcing is changing now. All the global companies are looking away from China. There's an opportunity we talk here about for exports. India want to be a manufacturing hub. So, do you really see that? No?
Now it has been streamlined. I don't have to bother because so many formalities all are cleared online. Getting the bill of lading was a big story. Now you can get it within few hours once it has been put it in the plane or on the container ship. And it is end-to-end services are available. So I don't know whether it is going to Alaska or it is going to South Africa. The rest things are managed. For the promotion side, I think whenever we go to the foreign countries, there are, of course, we don't do that because we require a big stall, but they put up a India pavilion. So within that hall, a certain area is hired by the Indian government, and they promote you in a subsidized rate.
So I will see opportunity on the export side to scale up, like even in your industry also, right? In the because you're supplying these.
Just also add to that, what Mahesh is saying, there's one of the themes that we always say is believer is the China plus one. So India is a large beneficiary. I think when you are supplying to China, so we can just give some highlight on that. We will also give a great understanding of what we say and what is happening on the ground. There is a
China se compete karna hai, so what is it where you need to really work upon? No?
China, capacity-wise, they are very huge. You know, we are very small compared to the capacities that they have established already. That is one. But quality-wise, they are equivalent to Indian quality. Maybe Indian quality is far better sometimes. And the trust that people have in the Indian companies is far better than the Chinese companies. That is what we have realized when we are going globally everywhere. But competitiveness in the Indian industry, I think, is going to be a challenging thing because for industry like us, the cost of power and the cost of logistics is very high. So because it's subsidized, so unless the government takes some steps to, take that subsidy on them, the agricultural subsidy on them, and give the power to the industry at a cost which is competitive, automatically it will become competitive in the market. Because otherwise, if you compare ourselves with companies like China, we are at least 20% higher. 20% higher. But because of the China plus one policy, people are looking at they are looking at an alternative. Otherwise, they may have issues. So they are putting alternatives on companies like us to make sure that they have a second supplier sitting in India. And
so in Bombay side or most of the metro, they struggle to get people, right people. Generally, what is the sense in especially Kolhapur or which are non-metros, getting right people?
The government is also trying to do a collaboration of the industry with the educational institutes.
Yeah.
So the kind of whatever staff or labor what the industry wants, that equipped staff or labor will be provided by the education societies.
Okay.
So that still it has to go to the rural market, to the rural schools or colleges, but that is rolling now. So, government wants skilled labor to come into the market. So, they are working on that.
But this is more technical skill than this which you require, because that's the real challenge, right? To getting, even whether it's in the housing industry also, right?
We are facing huge issues.
Yeah, in housing industry also.
We are not getting trained people, trained engineers.
Yeah, masons.
Not a single engineer, the pass out engineer wants to stay in Kolhapur. He wants to go to Pune, Bangalore, Mumbai, wherever he wants, but he wants to leave Kolhapur because I don't know, for some reasons, सबका aspiration है कि बड़े city में जाओ. Then second thing, Bihar and UP, our laborers are from Bihar and UP. A lot of things are happening there also. Almost, I can see every year 10 to 15% drop down in laborers, number of laborers. There is no skill development program in this sector. We under Kredai, we do that. But in bigger cities, it is more ethical way we teach people. But in smaller cities like Kolhapur, we don't have that kind of facilities within Kredai sector also. We're trying to build one, but it will take some time.
Basically, it's a foundry industry here. So it's basically a mother industry where really engineering is required. But we don't get good engineers. I would say that is true with every small city and big city problem.
What has happened with the growth of economy is a lot of options for the worker. He gets trained, he goes to some other factory for a better job or a better opportunity. Importance is you need to have good HRD managers to identify the talent. And you have to have the power to retain them properly by giving them training, incentivizing them. Otherwise, as Abhijit said rightly, there is a problem of them getting scattered here and there. So management just can't be focusing on marketing and production. You need to have human incentivization.
Your industry, you have been surrounded with the core industries, right? Traditional cement है, अभी sugar हो गया, fertilizer हो गए. तो वहाँ पे क्या growth दिख रही है आपको ना?
Earlier जो manufacturing का जो एक system था, technology, और अभी जो है उसमें बहुत difference है. ये सब जो cement में
वो तो लेमिनेटेड बैग आ गया है, मतलब अभी आगे जो चलेगा तो वो पेपर लेमिनेटेड या वो लेमिनेटेड बैग, बॉटम बैग बोलते हैं, जिसके ऊपर सीमेंट बाहर नहीं आना चाहिए,
राइट
वो कॉन्सेप्ट आ जाएगा इंडिया में। सेकेंडली पहले जूट बैग में जो फ्रूट्स एंड एग्रोशन था वो सब बैन हो गया, बंद हो गया अभी, तो उसमें सब बैक्टीरिया वगैरह सब खराब होता था, तो इसमें अभी वो अच्छा रहता है। तो ऐसे काफी डेवलपमेंट डे बाय डे एक्सपोर्ट हो रहा है इसमें भी आउट ऑफ।
Right. So you're also seeing export opportunity in your this thing also. Financialization of savings, what you've seen, right? That's been the biggest change what you've seen, right? How do you see that trend and what are your experience over there and where this takes us? Huh? What is the opportunity you see?
Well, I still believe this is just a beginning.
Right.
People coming out and investing, because as the people start making more money, they will have surplus money to invest. And I think, what I have seen in my career, I think that NAC was the first best thing happened. That online trading started. Before that, obviously, SEBI was the first best thing happened.
Correct.
And then investors' confidence came back.
And the third one is mutual fund sahi hai. SIPs. That has changed everything.
After this digitization and financialization of the money coming into the financial products, so I feel that this SIP sahi hai, mutual fund sahi hai. So that is the main this thing, and people have become very matured now. And mutual fund offers like right from 1 day to 10 years.
10 years.
So everything is there. So
Right.
I think still we have a lot of potential, and people will create a lot of wealth actually in the coming days.
The world watches on as our country moves towards becoming a $10 trillion economy. From its small savers to its centers of innovation, towards this vision of a strong Bharat, every contribution matters. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.